At this point, you probably have already seen the volume 26 cover of Jujutsu Kaisen.
Oh my god! I thought this was a classy party.
And you must be thinking, oh my god, is Gege hating Gojo for real now? Like, why is he drawing Gojo so strange? I'm Mazi, an artist, and I would like to give some insight from my perspective on Gege art style change over the years. For me, there's a few things that make a good manga, and art style is a big part of them. In early Gege career, his art has a lot more tone and darkness, and the character feature is more roundish compared to the sharpness every character have now. Some said it's a change of style, some said it's a downgrade in art. So which one is the truth? First, let's analyze the line art. The number one thing that separates a veteran artist from a new artist is how confident the line art is and the use of what they call line weight. When you are a beginner artist, you're probably not used to holding the pen yet, digitally or traditionally, which caused a rather wobbly and jiggly line unintentionally, which is what happened to Gege here in the early chapter of JK. A strong, confident line showcase in later chapter indicate a level up in art that you can only achieve through practice. His use of line weight has also improved. Line weight, to put it simply, is a variation of line art thickness used to diversify your art, make it look more interesting. It's also highlight movement and the big depth in a scenes. For example, you make the line thicker for the character in front to separate it from the object in the back. Compare his Shibuya style to his beginner stage, especially look at this amazing ghetto double spread. You can see his old line art lack the variations, so everything look rather flat. The punch and the kick, the fight scene in general doesn't have that rawness, and the weight of the punch didn't show as it should have. It's really helped that Gege art go through a major experimental stage in the hidden inventory art, where he started testing out how to ink his manga in different way. Some might say he was mimicking the line art style of Sodo, basically a Japanese traditional calligraphy style where you use a large brush to write on paper, leading to a new level of craziness in every battle scenes that he draw. Speaking of craziness, have you noticed the way he used his shape in art and design to push the tension of the fight to the extreme? Shape language is one of the major part in art, and to explain it, it's just the feeling we got from looking at a symbol shape. Every complex object can be broken down into three fundamental shapes like circle, square, and triangle. With the proper use of shape language, you can pretty much make the viewer feel what you want them to feel. Like for example, if you make a drawing of the ocean, you draw the wave soft and nice, representing a nice weather. But if you draw the ocean with zigzag line, it almost feel like the ocean is moving really fast and feel like a bit dangerous. Circle make you feel safe and soft. Square make you feel strong and stable. And with Gege here, he pushed a lot of pointy triangle and zigzag in his design, which promote the feeling of tension, aggression, making every character action feel really high speed and overwhelming. Paneling is probably also one of the strongest improvement he has shown over time. Early in the manga, the compositions of the manga and the panel is not very intuitive to follow, but ever since Shibuya and Cooling Games, he has showcased a really strong paneling skill that make the reader easy to follow and connect the fight. It's also helped that he diverse the shape and size of all the manga panel, make it much more interesting to look at. Like you can say no page is the same in every future chapter, unlike in the earlier chapter where every page is kind of a bunch of rectangular panel with kind of similar structure and size. It look very rigid. Camera angle also play a big part to why the fight is much better to look at now. Gege art skill improve mean he has the ability and the knowledge to push more dynamic pose with short lens camera for the fight compared to just having really straightforward angle with long lens view. That is rather boring. The feeling I can describe with those panels that had really extreme dynamic pose is that it feels like you, the reader, are being invited into the page yourself. Truly something to keep you reading and make you feel like you are there in the battle. And lastly, we have to talk about the screen tone. Dark screen tone that he used in early manga stage for the background has also been reduced. He almost leave all the background white now and only inking the character. Not only does this have improving a rather time-consuming process, but it also make the character with dark ink pop up more among the white background. So after everything we discussed, we pretty much agree that Gege improved so much compared to before. So why there are people downplaying his style right now? I think it's come down to two things. Number one, the conventional attractiveness bias or the beauty standard even in art. Number two is the polishedness of art. I think Gege has a rather strong shift in art style during the cooling games, especially at how he draw the face. Face is where the conventional attractiveness bias play the most important part. There's a certain ratio where the feature have to be and you have to follow even if you stylize your art or else it's deemed not good looking. Since Gege art style chains go from a more conventional beauty standard to slowly a more deviant style, and not the other way around where young artists improve their art style over time by having their art look closer to the beauty standard. Gege's style deviate from that, so it's considered a downgrade for a lot of people. So I can strongly say his overall skill as an artist improved and is get closer and closer to the Gege Akutami style that he wants to achieve. His style is so iconic and easily to recognize now, but this doesn't mean everyone will like it. Art is about the preference. However, to simply say he doesn't care anymore about his art might not be correct. His art is still great and go well with the overall environment of the manga, which for me is the most important point. As long as there is no clash in element and everything look like it belong there, it's worth for me. It's also a problem with polishing the final product, which he has a lot of deadline to compete with as a manga artist of a weekly magazine. And also sometimes he feels sick too, but pretty sure all the sketchy page that is not polished will be fixed by the time the volume coming out in the store. So I hope everyone can be a bit patient with Gege here. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. Here's an example of a rather famous traditional artist. It's Picasso, whose art style deviates from a conventional beauty style to a more personal style that I'm pretty sure not everyone would like it. So just like in real life, people adore the one who are a bit crazy and out of line. But if you deviate so much and get a bit too comfortable to your personal self, away from the norm, suddenly everyone has a problem. That's the problem with not only Gege art, but his story too, by the way. People expect Gege Akutami to write a story that they can guess and predict based on their knowledge and expectations from older series, because to them it's the standard of what is good and what is not. When Gege decides to explore the story in a different way, suddenly it's bad writing. His story and art have flaws, yes, but if you read it with a more open mind and a bit more patient, it might not as bad as people say. It's just another form of media to explore. So yeah, I hope with this video you learn a bit more about Gege art style and manga style in general. And if you really like it, click subscribe to the channel and I bring more content about JJK in the future. Thank you for watching.